Hello, I'm Bruce Lorincz, and this show is called Bruce on the Loose. I talk to people in city government, school system, and taking the show on the road lately. Pam Csaky's with us today, longtime English and theater arts instructor at Wadsworth High School. Pam, thank you very much for taking time out of your busy schedule and joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Did you always desire to be an educator?
Did I? Oh, well, when I was little, I played school all the time, my poor little sister, and her friends. And then when I got to high school, I didn't know what I wanted to do.
Right.
I actually became a paramedic and a firefighter right after high school. And then when I was about 25, I decided I needed to maybe I wanted to go to college. So that's when I went to school to become a teacher. Yeah, but I had great mentors in high school. Mr. Vale at Norton High School. Mr. Schoonover was my history teacher at Norton. And then I got the privilege to work with him here, so yeah.
Yeah. How has teaching changed over the years?
Really, technology. I would say that's the biggest change.
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely. The use of technology. You definitely have to be flexible and on a learning curve all the time.
And the students can sometimes help the teachers.
Absolutely, absolutely. Probably more so than the fellow teachers. Yes.
Yeah, right. You talked about mentors, a few people there. What specifically did they help you with?
Well, Mr. Vale at Norton really instilled the love of literature for me, and then was also the drama director. So I got to work with him on some productions as well as a couple other teachers. And then Mr. Schoonover here opened me with welcome arms into the drama department, and then of course Mrs. McNamara and Mrs. Adley, and we've just had a great group of people before me that kind of set the bar, and then those that I've worked with along the way.
It isn't. One person doesn't get a production to a success.
No.
It takes many.
Absolutely.
And then I always remember when I was at the middle school, Jesse Smith and his crew and Mr. Schoonover's father coming in.
Yes,
and,
we've had
and
lots of
toiling
grandfathers.
Backstage and the sets. People forget about the sets, but they create the mood and the aura of the production, don't they?
Yeah, we can't do it all. There's a lot of people backstage or behind the scenes making these productions happen.
Right. What subjects do you teach currently at the high school?
I teach junior English, which is American literature. I absolutely love that type of literature. And then I also teach a literature as film course for seniors. And I've taught theater arts. I've taught freshmen, sophomores, juniors, seniors. I've taught them all. Yeah.
Interesting. On my walk with my dog today, I heard a interview with a gentleman that just developed a book on Mark Twain.
Oh, interesting.
Just off the presses, and he said that he was a complicated person, but really he turned himself a true American.
Yes. Yep, one of our true Americans, right? Yep, self-made men, that's for sure.
That's for sure. Have students changed over the years?
No.
How many years? How many years have you been at it?
This is 33.
33 years.
Right.
So 3 decades plus 3 years.
Yes. Have students changed? No. Kids are still kids. That's what people ask me all the time. Oh my gosh, you teach those high schoolers. I will say that kids are still kids. You know what? A 17-year-old is no different than we were when we were 17 years old. A 16-year-old is a 16-year-old. What has changed is, social media, parenting, just social expectations, but kids are still kids. And sometimes I think we as adults have to remember what we were like when we were 17 or 15. We weren't the easiest children then either. So
and we didn't know it all. I mean,
no. Well, we thought we did. We thought we did.
Students really, really want to learn.
Yeah.
And they, I think as time goes on, they maybe start at a, backstage, and then they kind of progress.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
I can think of my daughters, and they started to sound. I think Grease, and then did other things, and then finally got on the stage. And
there's a place for everybody in the world of theater.
They kind of pay their dues.
Yeah, but there's a place for everybody in theater. Some people don't have a lot of background, so they want to start small, backstage. Maybe let me be a techie. Let me see what this is all about. And then, work your way, into performance if that's it. Other kids don't want to perform. They like being backstage or in the booth or helping with costumes and things. Yeah.
Help me out with that camaraderie. If they are backstage, it seems like they get along and they see people in the hall later and say, "Hey, I know you," and it really is great.
Yeah, I will say that in the world of high school theater, so many kids have found a home there. They're very diverse. We have a very diverse group of individuals. We've got football players, we've got soccer players, we've got singers. We have them all, and everyone is welcome. Whether you're the person behind the soundboard, or you're backstage helping a character make quick changes, or you're the lead, everyone is equal. It takes a team, and everyone knows that an actor can't be seen unless there's lights. An actor can't be heard unless there's sound.
Right. Sure.
So we have to work together.
Kind of funny you mentioned, and it jogs my memory of the Wizard of Oz, and you had the football players get the flying monkeys over the.
Oh yeah, that was a while ago. Yep.
That was
Peter Pan. Yep, we had the
Peter Pan.
Yep.
So we depend on a lot of different people.
Absolutely, yeah. But we have versatile kids here in Wadsworth. I mean, we've got kids that are on the soccer field in the fall, and are lead singers in the spring. So there's something for everybody.
And that's not all bad. It shows their diversification, and they can put that on an application to get into college, and they're pretty well rounded. Very well.
Yeah. Yep.
When did you first involve yourself in theater? I think you said maybe Norton.
Yeah, at Norton. Yeah? My older sister, took me to their production of 1776.
That was one of the two that I was hoping Wadsworth would do.
I know. Boy. In 1976, the centennial year, Norton did it.
All right.
I saw it there, and then I started in high school the next year. And again, I didn't know where I fit in, but you always fit in the world of theater. And so I started out. I was mostly backstage. I played a nun in Sound of Music and a ensemble here and ensemble there. But by the time my junior and senior year, I was assistant directing. I was backstage. I was finding other ways to do that. And then when I went to college, I got involved in Akron University's. While I was doing my courses for the theater certificate, and I just fell in love with it. It's just something that I think our kids need, that outlet, the creative outlet of theater.
Colby Hall.
Colby Hall, absolutely.
Had a couple classes there. Colby Hall. I don't think it's there anymore.
Nope. Actually, it was renamed after Paul Daum.
Okay.
So it might still be there. Yeah.
All right. What was your first production?
Here?
Well, at Norton or here.
I think my first production there may have been Sound of Music in Norton.
Wow.
But my first production here was I helped out with Guys and Dolls.
Okay. Yeah, very, very fine production, and one of Wadsworth's finest. How do copyright laws work?
Oh boy, and that's a big thing, that especially with WCTV. It used to be back in the day when WCTV was just a community channel. For some reason, they were airing shows. We can't do that any longer. Especially musicals, larger plays. Most do not give you airing rights for recording. Very rarely do they even give you recording rights. You might be able to do it as an archival copy for your records, but not for airing. And then when WCTV kind of went like, on the internet and anybody anywhere can watch it, we really had to kind of put a stop to that, because we were breaking copyright rules. So you have to pay the rights to produce any production. A musical is very expensive. A play might be $75 a show. A musical is going to probably be $600 and $700 or $1,000 a show, and that's just the performance rights. So there's a lot involved when before you even start rehearsals.
So
Yes.
how long in advance do you, I remember you and Mrs. McNamara, Mrs. Adley
Right.
would get together in the spring about this time and say, well, this is what we're thinking about. You'd throw some
titles out, yeah.
Titles out, and
Yeah,
no,
the sooner the better. There's a lot of contract language that has to go between Wadsworth City Schools and the publication, whoever holds the rights for licensing. So that takes a while. The bigger the show, the more complicated it gets.
Right.
So, we're always thinking, gosh, what could we do? We have to think about our talent pool. We have to think about, what our budget looks like. We have to think about, what kind of show it is. So we try to plan about it, in the spring, but sometimes it might take longer. It might take us over the summer, or it used to be even in the fall, we would announce what we're going to do in our spring musical. So it just depends on what's out there, have we done anything like that recently? We don't want to repeat ourselves too often, those kind of things.
So a lot of factors involved.
A lot of factors. Yeah, it's not just like, hey,
hey,
making sure that people always say, well, when are you going to do Wicked? And I'm like, never. There are no performance rights for Wickeds other than professional. So, we have to wait for the rights to even come about. Frozen is still not available on a high school level. I think the only one that's available is on a junior level, so which is younger kids. So yeah, it has to be available first of all.
It looks like you have a full head of hair.
Mostly. I like to keep it short. Yes.
Tryouts.
Auditions.
Yes. How was that organized, and was anyone really upset that they didn't get chosen?
Always.
Yes.
Yes. Unfortunately, we do break a lot of hearts. There's only so many parts for a number of kids.
And the students really come out in droves? I mean, do you let that ahead of time so kids know tryouts are? Okay.
Right. They'll know ahead of time. For instance, at the very beginning of school, we'll announce when the auditions will be held for the 2 fall productions. And then in the fall, because neither one is a musical, we'll audition both of those at the same time. Kids can choose one or the other, or they'll say, I don't care, just put me in one of them. We cast as a team, so it's not one person making these decisions.
Right.
It's usually 3, 4, 5 people. Figuring out, you have to know the show, you have to know the different characters, and you have to know the students. It's not always based on that, 1 minute moment where the nerves are getting the best of them. We know our students, and we kind of know what they're capable of, and we always like to push that bar a little higher and higher.
And you have them, as you say, for 1 minute, maybe read a part, a portion of the play.
Right, and then for the musical, right before winter break, we will have a couple of workshops. Say if there's specific dancing involved, say tap dancing. Right. We'll do a little tap session, see who can pick up. We'll say, here are your numbers to choose from. Mrs. Davis will go over those for them. And then they can practice over Christmas break before we come back and audition right after break.
You had plays in various seasons. Can you explain how that, and it wasn't just, some schools just do one main play in the spring.
Yeah.
But Wadsworth did a number of productions.
Correct. So most high schools do maybe one drama in the fall and a musical in the spring. We are lucky and blessed here that we can pull off 6 full productions a year between the middle school and high school. Wow. Now that wasn't always the case. We've built that over my 33 years. But we have a middle school musical and a middle school play. At the high school, in the fall, we'll do 2 productions, and in the spring is usually our musical and then another production. We do that because we have so many kids that are interested and passionate and would like to try this. One show a semester isn't enough, doesn't offer enough parts. So that's why we offer 2. You can't be in both in the fall, or can't be in both in the spring.
So that's a rule, that they can't be.
Right, yeah. No, we have had some emergencies where we've had to fill people in. But in general, that's twice as many actors we get on stage and twice as many techies we get behind the stage and behind in the light booth and soundboard. So it's an opportunity to create more opportunities for our students to be involved.
I have to tell you that being in a production, really expands students' knowledge and life skills.
Absolutely.
And having a minister and an attorney, you know, who've been kind of paid their dues along the way. It really does probably surprise you how students go on and are successful, and some of it is attributed to their theater.
Right. I will say the majority of people ask me this all the time. Well, has anybody gone on to be famous? Well, you know what? That's not why we do this. We like creating well-rounded students, and you know, we have in our repertoire of past students, we have ministers, we have doctors, we have teachers, we have you know, carpenters, we have performers, we have directors and casting agents. We have our kids, engineers. We're not here to make people famous. We're not. That's not what this. Our department is about making kids comfortable. Speaking skills, collaboration skills. I don't know how many kids have told me, you know, I learned to handle a paintbrush when we were painting the sets, and after that I painted my room. I had to teach them how to use a paintbrush. They'd never held a paintbrush before. So it just all sorts of things, but I would say it's that self-confidence and that collaboration to be able to work with others that may not be like you, and to come together to put together a production that they're proud of. So yeah,
and I can also say the community.
Yes.
You know, the community, you know, tickets really go quick. And
yes, they do.
You get, you know, in there early, you can get a pretty good view of the production, but I'm sure the parents and relatives of the actors and actresses are very proud of their efforts.
I think so. I hope so. Yes. Yeah.
All right, I'm going to pin you down, Pam.
Okay.
What are the 3 performances or productions that you think you enjoyed the most? Well,
okay.
Let me put it that way.
I'm glad you gave me that question ahead of time.
You enjoyed the most.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, because that's like saying which child do you like best.
Right.
That's not fair. But I will say my favorite play of all time is Our Town.
Our Town.
Our
okay.
Town.
Yeah.
Thornton Wilder. I've directed it 3 times. I could, you know, if retirement hadn't happened so soon with STRS changing years, my plan was that to be my final dramatic production, but that's okay.
And that was kind of a fall production.
Yeah, it was always a fall drama. It is heartwarming. It is timeless. I love watching our students grow, finding those characters. My second would be Fiddler on the Roof. I have always loved that play, that musical. Directed that one twice here, and it was directed like the year before I came. So again, because of the story. We were able to do it this last time with an understanding of the Ukraine, which is where the little fictional town of Anatevka is set. And so we had a lot of social awareness going on when we did that one.
And I remember Katie McIlvaine had a very poignant song.
Yes,
that
Far
she
From
sang.
the Home I Love. Yes.
Very nice.
Yep. And then my third one is Bright Star, again for the story. It's a musical that a lot of people don't know. It came to Broadway the same year as Hamilton. So who heard of anything other than Hamilton that year?
Right.
But again, it's written by Steve Martin. It's not a comedy. And Eddie Brickell, and it bluegrass music, and it is, again, a beautiful story. So those are my 3 favorites.
Yeah, you surprised me on a couple. I thought maybe, you know, you might look at, you know, some others. Oklahoma, I thought was.
I love
was
Oklahoma.
Really, that was really
yes, great.
You need a lot of
but
singers.
Like I said, I could do a lot. I could name a lot of great ones, but you said you asked me for my 3 favorites.
I understand. I understand.
Those are my 3 that I just adore. Yes.
Why are the backstage workers so significant?
Well, like I said before, if you don't have lights, you can't see the actor. And if you don't have sound, you can't hear them. So they help bring the production to life for the audience. Lighting can help establish mood. That, like you said before, the set gives the actors something to act on, act with. Scene changes are so important. We're lucky we actually use a lot of our actors during the scene changes just because we don't have a lot of room backstage, and we've got plenty of actors on stage. But to keep it fluid so the audience doesn't get bored for a 5-minute set change, to keep the story alive and going. We need extra hands. We need those things to happen.
Yeah, you do have another segment. You got to get some props off and get some other things on.
Absolutely.
And time is essential.
Yeah, I mean, with the Legally Blonde that we just did, Sarah Ferguson, who played Elle Woods, had a bazillion costume changes, and we had 2 girls specifically set to her to do nothing but set her next costume change, because one time it would be stage left, one time it would be stage right, and then we'd have to move pieces. And so, yeah, it's important. It is super important.
I was at the middle school for 10 years plus. OJ Work, what a nice facility. It was upgraded when I was there.
Correct, yes.
The kids like going, for the high school down and
well, they
practicing.
did. Yeah, they did when we didn't have the performance space here. But when you have a performance space in the building, it just, and we're so lucky to have had OJ Work to kind of set the bar. And now we have the James R. McIlvaine Performing Arts space here in the high school, and then a new space going in the new CIS. Because our community loves our productions. I would say, community members, don't just go to the musicals. Get out there and see our other productions. You're missing a lot.
And kids work hard and really put their all into it.
Yes, they are quality productions as well. And they're entertaining and heartwarming. So make sure you mark your schedules for all of our school productions.
Okay. How did the directors divide the arduous work?
Jobs? First of all, I haven't done this by myself, that's for sure. And you have to, again, collaborate. We have to know our own skills. We have to know our own weaknesses. You have to be willing to say, you're better at this than I am, so you handle that, and I might be better at this, then I'll handle this. You have to give and take. You might not always agree on the way that a scene has to happen, but we talk it out, we figure it out, we put our kids first to make sure that they're going to be proud of what they do on stage and behind stage. Yep.
And I give Debbie Lake a lot of credit to get all the props and all the things, and it's time, it's in that time era, and the costumes, they really worked. We've been very blessed here to have, like I said, our students don't always go on to be some famous actress. I think the only famous one we actually might have would be Dan Kramer, but people don't even know that he is an artistic director for an opera company. I think he's in England now, or Ireland, I'm not quite sure which. He was Tevye, by the way.
He was Tevye the year before I came.
Okay,
yeah,
all right.
Yeah, but we've had Jonathan Hill as Tevye, we've had Miles Fortner as Tevye.
Okay.
But I work with great people. We have, Mrs. McNamara, Mr. Schoonover, Mrs. Adley, but now we have Mrs. Baxley. We had Patty Haskins from the math department. Now we have Mrs. Baxley from the math department. Kaylin Davis and the things she does with the choir now. Brianne Pernod, Lindsay Patterson, who was Lindsay Stemple. All 3 of those students were on stage, were my students back in the day, and now I get to call them my colleagues. And I'm so proud that they're going to continue carrying forth and offering our students these opportunities. We've got great leadership coming up.
How long did you rehearse a production?
Well, it depends on the production.
Right.
A drama or a comedy might be 6 to 8 weeks. A musical is closer 10 to 12 because you've got music. Not only do you have the acting, but you also have the choreography and you have the singing that has to go along with it. So that always adds an extra couple of weeks.
Did a few actors stand out with their outstanding performances? In your view? In my history, some of the people that have really stood out for me, Lindsay Patterson, Brianne Pernod, Kaylin Davis, because of their passion and their dedication. But also Brian Hawkinsmith, when we did Of Mice and Men, played this phenomenal George, or Lenny,
inside out.
Right.
Aaron Schoonover, when he was here, who now I believe is living in LA doing casting and things, and comes home and does some short films here in Wadsworth when he can. And his passion for performance. Lately, Lauren Claxton, who played Ariel in Little Mermaid, and Alice in Bright Star, and I believe is graduating soon from University of Miami, has been involved in a a cappella group down there. She also won, when we were competing in the Dazzle Awards, she won Best Actress from Playhouse Square's Dazzle Awards as well. So yeah, I mean, there are ones that just stand out, but really, I have so many memories of so many students, 99.9 of them amazing memories that I get to leave with.
I enjoyed Josh Knight's production of The King and I.
Yes,
yes.
yeah, yes. He actually shaved his head for us.
Yeah, yes, no question about it.
Yes.
How did the dinner theater originate?
Gosh, that happened when we were at OJ, the foundation, the Wadsworth Scholarship Foundation came up with an idea of buying a block of tickets and having a dinner ahead of time and a dessert. And then we just were able to bring that back this year with an extra performance for them. And they were kind enough to open that up to senior citizens for that. We are a self-funded, we don't get a budget from the school district. Everything, all of our props and costumes and rights and everything like that are paid for out of ticket sales. And we've been losing a lot of ticket money for free tickets, complimentary tickets, those kind of things. So they said, why don't we invite the seniors for their free senior show to this Tuesday night performance? And I'm hoping that that continues on as well, yeah. Because like I said, we have to fund ourselves somehow, and ticket sales is how we fund ourselves, so. Yep.
Any final thoughts to the community or to the students that you've served?
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you parents, thank you grandparents, thank you students. I've had a wonderful time here at Wadsworth. I've been blessed. It's a wonderful place to work and live. My kids have gone through Wadsworth High School to grow, and tons and tons of memories that I'll leave with. So thank you.
I can't think of one production that was mediocre.
Nope.
And that's certainly a compliment.
Yep.
You tweaked.
We tweak a lot. We tweak a lot.
Sure, you just hope that the cold that the leading lady had would subside.
We've had issues of
right.
Yeah, so many things that we've been able to handle. And as we always say in the directing, when we're directing the kids and stuff, and the students out there know, I'm usually the scary one. I have very high expectations. We set the bar high, and sometimes, I enjoy pushing our students to see how far they can go. Sometimes they don't think they can do it, and we know they can, and they just need that extra push. And so, yeah, thanks for the great memories.
Pam Csaky, thank you for your
Thank you.
33 years working here at Wadsworth City Schools, and thank you for viewing Bruce on the Loose. And we have some more shows coming up. Maybe we'll look at the flower people getting Wadsworth beautified.
You are watching WCTV, Wadsworth Community Television.